Hello everyone, Hector Mendoza. In this video I'm going to show you how you can prepare a form using Acrobat DC. There's a few components that you can add to a document once you convert it into a form. For instance, you can add contents like a text. You can add a box, which is going to be a text field. You can add images, check boxes, radio buttons, drop down list box button, date field, digital signature, and barcodes. So I'll make a video for each one of these items or components. Before we start, there are two ways of viewing your Acrobat. You can view it in the new Acrobat format, or you can view it in the old Acrobat format. Right now, if you notice, when I go here, I can disable new Acrobat. So we are actually on the new Acrobat. So if your Acrobat looks like this, or let's say this is turned off, you would click on all tools and you would see these tools. If this looks this way, then you are viewing it in the new Acrobat view. So if yours looks like this, you don't have to do the next step, unless if you just want to change your Acrobat back and forth so you can get an idea and learn a little bit about Acrobat. So if I go to my menu and I disable new Acrobat, when you open up your new Acrobat, it actually comes like this. So you would click on disable. If you've already turned it back, you're gonna hit restart. It's gonna shut down, it's gonna open up, and then it'll open up the page that you had open if you had a document open. And then when it launches, this is what it's gonna look like. Now if you notice to the right, this one is going to be to the right, and not just that, but your this looks different, and then this looks different. So if yours looked like this, and then at this, to view your tools, you would have to click on tools, and then so you see right here where it says prepare forms. I have it there because I told it to go to this favorites. So you would have to go and find prepared tools. I don't like doing it this way, so I wanted to show you. So if you're viewing your Acrobat this way, let's go ahead and go to view, and let's go and enable new Acrobat. That way you can follow me much easier. So let's go ahead and do that. Again, you're gonna see restart Acrobat. You're gonna tell it restart. Then it closes, and then you'll see this page, and it should launch the page that you were on. So if you don't see all tools here, I'm going to close it so you can see how to launch it. All you have to do is click here, and then you get all your tools. Now you might or might not be able to see prepare a form, which are part of your tools, okay, unless if you click view more. So if you click view more, it will give you additional tools. Now, so if you notice, there is a prepare form. Now, if this is something you're going to be using a lot, you can move this to the top. Okay, so let me show you how to do that. So what you're going to do is you're going to right click on prepare form. When you right click, you're going to see this dialog. So you can click on move up, that moved it up once. So I'm going to right click, I'm going to move it up, right click, move it up, right click, move it up, and then you can do it as, you know, right click and move it up. You can go as far as you want. I'm just going to do one more. Now that way you don't have to go searching for this tool, because we're going to go in and out of this prepare form. So if this is a document that you have already created and you want to add some of the components that we discussed earlier to prepare a form, then you're going to have to save it as a form. So if I go in here, I have the document open, I'm going to click on prepare a form. So I'll click there. Here you have a you can create a new document. You can select a file, or you can create a form. So right now you have it open, so we can go ahead and click on create form. Now you see no new form field annotations were detected. Just tell it okay. Now you can actually start creating forms, okay, or add components to this form, because you already told it to create from the document that you had open. So I do have a 1.5 hour video that explains most of this components. Okay, so the one we're going to talk about is your radio button, and it's a little tricky, so I want to show you a couple of things. Alright, so during the process you can view this form in a preview mode, which is right now it's not in a preview mode, and I can hit preview, but it's not gonna really do anything because we don't have any components. But let me show you how to do that. You would click on preview, because there is no components here or buttons, and we're going to call them components because that's what Acrobat calls it. So you can't see anything. So we're going to exit out of here because this is the preview mode. When we are in the non-preview mode, we can add components and make changes to those components. So to the right side, it's always going to give you a list of all the pages. In addition, every time you create a component on the page that you have, it'll have like a sub paragraph to that. So what I'm going to do, I am going to click on radio button, and then you see it loads a little box. I'm just going to left click at the left of that dwelling form. Once I left click, it places it in there. And if you notice, under page 1, it created a group called choice 1, and we're going to go over what that group is. That's a very important thing to know. Now before we continue, let me show you something. I use this Control R. If you notice right in here, let me click here. If you notice right in here, there's a little ruler. Horizontally and vertically there's a ruler. So if I hit Control R, it closes it. Same thing to the left. And this helps us keep everything uniform. So I'm a big command person. I don't like to use pull downs, okay? So but let me show you where this is. But we are gonna use commands. That way we don't have to go up there. So basically you would have to go to the menu bar, you would have to go to view, you would have to go to display height, and there's your toolbar. In addition to that, we're going to talk about some grids, and we're going to talk about rulers. So remember, Control R is for ruler and Control U is for grid. So like I was showing you earlier, Control R, now I'm going to hit Control U for grid. This helps us align this form. You're able to change the way that grid looks like. You know, there's a lot of things you can do to this grid, but we're not going to go over that. But I just wanted to bring this up so you can see, and just watch some of my other videos. I explain all of that, especially on that 1.5 hour video. So so watch, if I click inside this box, it's gonna highlight all my text. This is from a previous document. Now it's possible that you know, when you create this could be a bunch of different boxes. I created one big text excuse me, one big text. So because it was selected like that, I can click, and if you notice right in here, I can click, and when it changes to that double arrow, sometimes it's kind of hard to select it. Okay, let me enlarge it a little bit so you can see. So if I go right there, then I can move my text over a little bit. So let's go ahead and move it over so that I can move those radio buttons 1/2 inch from the left. Now with my control button, I can use my mouse to make it bigger and smaller. Wherever you have your mouse, it'll enlarge that area. Okay, so you can keep it from disappearing. So I'm gonna click on this radio button, and then I'm gonna move it right here. So basically line it up to the dwelling form. There's a lot of ways to create these buttons. I can go in and click on radio button again, and then add another one where I want. If you notice, now if you hit escape once, it don't do nothing, but if you hit escape twice, look at this loaded square. So if I hit escape again, now it deselected and gave me the pointer. Okay, so if you notice, I have choice 1, choice 2 on group 1. See, this one says group 1, this one has group 1. That's a very important thing that you have to understand. So I hit something real quick here, so let's go to oh, I hit Control 0. Okay, so now let's go to all tools. So I got 2 of them there, right? Now watch this. They're all in the same group right now. I'm gonna select this one. Okay, now if you select it while it's not in the editing mode, you're actually in the preview mode. Now I can't deselect it. You see, we're on preview mode. I accidentally went to preview mode. So or I exit out of all tools by clicking on that accidentally, this square, and it takes me to preview mode. So I messed up by clicking there, because now I can't deselect it. I'm going to show you a workaround to deselecting one of those once you select it. Now at this point, because you haven't made too many changes, you can hit Control Z, hit Control Z, hit Control Z, until it disappears. You see? So I did a lot of clicking, so I had to hit all those control Z. Control Z is to undo. You see this little icon here, this little tool? That's the same thing as undo. I was hitting control U, but you can click on this. Now this one here will, let's say you undo, and then you say, oh no, I didn't want to do that. You can go back to where you were before. Now to get back to your edit 10 form, to edit the form, you got to click on prepare a form. Okay, now this is what it'll look like whenever you are on what I would consider editing mode when you're preparing the form. So I can left click, lasso both of those. It looks like it's only lasso in the first one, but you can see that it's actually lassoing both of them. I can right click and copy, but you got to be careful when you're doing that, because if you deselect it, so what I like doing is hitting control C. What I had selected, it copied. Now I'm going to move this arrow down a little bit. I'm going to hit control V, and that select, it copied what I had on what I had copied, it pasted it here. So I'm going to left click while both of them are selected, and going to put it in the position that I want it. Okay, so, and this is very important, we're still on group 1. We have choice 1, 2, choice 1, 2. Then that's important. So those names are very important. Now watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to go down a little bit. We're going to lasso those. I'm going to hit control C, control V, and you know, in any one of these things, make sure you click right in the middle of one of those circles. You can left click and drag it to move it to a different position. Now remember, we are still on group 1, and look how it's naming this stuff. So that's real important, but let's go ahead and hit one more control V. I'm gonna I gotta find it right there. I'm gonna move it and put it right there. So now I have a radio button for each one of these sentences. Well, basically I wouldn't need it here, because this would actually be the introduction to the, or you know, this is what you would tell it what those radio buttons would be. So this would be like a the instructions of what to do for those radios. So I deleted that. Now, so I'm going to reduce this a little bit so you can see. Watch what we're going to do. We are going to go to preview, because we haven't changed the name of the group. All of these things are group, and if they're group, watch what happens. If I click on this radio button and I decide, okay, yeah, for this section, this is what I want to tell the person, this is what I want for this section, but then I got another section here, right? And I tell it, for this section I want basement non-elevated. Watch what happens to this when I click here. It unselected this and it went down here, because they all are part of group 1. So Acrobat does not have the functionality to deselect something unless if you select something else within its group. Now, and I will show you 2 or 3 different ways to get around it. We're going to manipulate the program. We're going to trick the program. But for right now, let's get this issue where I want to be able to click here, have this one part of this, and when I click here, I don't want this to deselect. So let's go ahead and do that. So remember, we cannot edit this form while we are in preview. So if you look down here, if I exit out of preview, I get my tools back, or my forms. Okay, so now I can left click, select all of these items. I release my mouse, and I can, you got to be in the middle of one of them. Okay, I can right click, I can go to properties, and now you see this is the name group. I have them all selected. You can tell the ones at the bottom have a blue selection of the text of the group 1, but the top ones you see are black. So that tells you which ones are selected and which ones are not. They're all name group, group name group 1. So let's click at the end, backspace, and we're going to click 2, and we're going to hit close. Now look, we have a group 1 and we have a group 2. Okay, so now let's go ahead and let me show you what's going to happen now. So we are going to preview, because this is where you do your selections. If I click here, look down here, nothing happened here, because all of a sudden these are all group 2. Okay, if I click here, nothing happens down here because that's group 1. I cannot click here to deselect it. Equally, I can't click here to deselect that. If you made a mistake, you're going to have to select. At this point, you're going to have to select something else. Otherwise, it's going to stay selected. So I'll click the first one there and then the second one. Now I'm going to show you how to manipulate this. Oh, in addition to that, let's say that under this group, I had maybe I had a dwelling form and I had a general form, and I wanted to select this one and this one, and I wanted both of them to stay selected. Then I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, so let's go ahead and let me go ahead and show you. So first of all, if you haven't made changes to this document after you have already made your buttons the way you want, all we did was click on buttons. You can go back and deselect everything by hitting Control Z, Control Z, oops, let me see, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Now one more, Control Z. Boom. Okay. But if you would have made changes in between that, the changes that you would have made would have been undone. So sometimes that's not a realistic way of deselecting. So let's go ahead. I'm going to show you a few ways. Well, 2 more ways. I'll show you how to do the undo. And I think undo is unlimited. You can do it 20, 30 undos and then get to the stage you were at. I would tell you to hit Control S during the form making, so that if you ever had to go back and hit Control Z, it would stop at a certain point. Now we are going to exit the preview, and we're going to do some workarounds. Okay, so I'm going to enlarge this area. I'm going to select this first one from the group one. I'm going to hit Control C, Control V. I'm going to grab this guy and put him right here. Okay, and then I'm going to go down. I want to select this guy. I'm going to hit Control C, Control V, because now that is copying from group 2. The other one was from group 1. You wouldn't want to make a copy of the group 2 and paste it to the group 1 if you didn't want it to select that area. So if you're if you're afraid that the people you're going to get this forms out are always going to have that problem of selecting something and not be able to deselect it, then this is a workaround. Now if it's you doing it, you can keep it this way, or I'm going to show you a different way. But for right now, watch what my proposal is to you. We're going to hit preview. Okay, that one is selected. Well, I can't unselect it, okay, unless if I click it here, because remember that's part of group 1, so I could always deselect that one. So let's say you accidentally selected this one, you can unselect it, but you can click here. So you can click on that until you decide that, okay, you know what, this is going to be my final answer. This is going to be my final answer for those. Now, two things you can do with this first one. One of them is we can kind of hide it. So let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to edit the preview. I'm going to select this one. I'm going to go to properties by right click. Here, let's get close to it. Let's right click in the middle of it. We're going to go to properties. On the appearance, that circle in the middle, I'm going to tell it, I'm going to click here and I'm going to tell it I want it to be white. So when you click on it, you're not going to see it. And here I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to tell this to be white, which really doesn't make anything. We're going to close this. Now I could have done that to both of them. We're going to go to this one. We're going to right click. We're going to go to properties. We're going to click here. We're going to change that to white. Whoa, well, it's no big deal. Click on white, hit OK. Click here, and then click. So let's click on more so you can see what this thing does. It brings this big thing. So if you can't see those little dots, then you can enlarge it by doing this. So I'm going to click on white and hit OK. And I'm going to close. I'm going to reduce it. We're going to preview. Okay, so now let's say you're okay with a light box up here and you want to deselect something. You can click here. It's actually selected, but remember we turned it white. Yeah, there's a light little circle there, but it's a get around it, right? Same thing here. I can click here to deselect that. Now let's say that you don't want that box there. There's one more option we can do. Let's click here and click here. Remember, I can't click, but I don't want that box there. what I can do is go ahead and select that, right? And click there to deselect everything. We're going to go to preview. I'm going to select this one, delete. Click this one, delete. Let's go to preview. Bada bing, bada boom. Now you don't have that box. You want another workaround? I'll give it to you. Okay, so we no longer have that box there, but I didn't want to select that one. I accidentally selected. Now I don't have nothing to unselect it. Equally, I selected this one because it was a big dummy and I don't really want it there. I don't want nothing selected because I want to select it later. Okay, so let's do an easy work around this. Remember, in a group, you can only select one. At this point, now I'm going to show you how to add more selections. But for right now, we're going to do a work around this. Now, this would only help if you have Adobe DC. If you're going to get this form to somebody that has only Adobe Acrobat, you got a big problem, because unless if they have the little button at the top, they're not going to be able to do what you can do. So let's go and show you this workaround. Okay, so we are going to go back to exit preview. Oh, here, sorry about that. I got to make sure I know which ones. So general property, let's do one at a time, because it's, so let's do general property. You want to deselect it, but you don't want to have that other one down there. So what's this? We're going to exit. Under general property, we're going to click it. We're going to hit Control C, Control V. Really, I don't care where it goes, to be honest with you, because I'm going to show you a little trick. So let's preview. Okay, so you see this one's selected. This is still part of that group. I could have moved it down there, but I want to save time. So boom, it is selected it, right? Okay, no problem. You just go to exit preview, select it, delete it, go back to preview, boom, you got it. Now let's do this one here. We're gonna exit preview. We don't like this one. We're gonna hit Control C, Control V, and you know, if you're one of those guys that like to move stuff around, let's get it out of the way because it scares you where it's at. We're gonna preview. We're gonna click on that one to deselect that one. We're gonna exit preview, select it, delete it, preview, and you're back to where you want to be. Again, you're only going to want to do this if you have Acrobat DC. Otherwise, you might want to put that little faded circle up there, so whoever you're giving this to is not going to spend 3 hours trying to figure out how to deselect something, or you know, or now you have a selection that shouldn't be selected. Okay, now last thing, you want to know how to do multiple selections. Remember, if you have everything in a group, you can only select one out of those groups. So the get around for this, we exit preview. We're going to enlarge this area so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to remember all of this are group one. I can select them all, change each one of them, but that's not what I want to do. I want to grab this one. Now, you know, sometimes if it's hard to grab, here, let you see all those double arrows. If I click on those double arrows, it could do some things, right? Or let's just click here, right click, and go to properties, and you can select it down here. Okay, so we're gonna go to general. Remember, all of this are group one. All of this are group two, so we can't use the word group two. So let's start with group 3. I'm going to hit close, and it took it to group 3. And then so this one here, I'm going to go to properties. I'm going to change that one to group 4. Hit OK. I'm going to right click on this one. I'm going to change the properties, and I'm going to call this group 5. Hit close. Now we have all these groups. Okay, so we're going to hit preview. Because they're not the same group, I can click here, I can click here, I can click here, and I can click here. But the only way you can unclick it is by hitting undo. Let's say that let me see if this command, okay, no, I thought that was a command. Okay, so let's say you click here, you click here, but you really didn't want that one. You know what to do. The only way to do this, it would be by exit, because now it has its own groups. You would hit Control C, Control V. You see, it's kind of hard to select it. Let's move it. Let's preview, and I can deselect, right? But I can select this one, which deselects that one. Then I have to exit the preview, select this, delete, and that is the only way to get around this. I've done research, and unfortunately, that is how you can work around this with this radio buttons. That's all I want to show you on radio buttons. Sorry it took so long. It's just there's so much to explain about that. It's a real nice thing to use, but that's it's a little tricky. Let's exit. Watch my other videos. I will explain the difference between this text and this text field. Then I will explain about images, check boxes, radio boxes, and in text text fields, man, there's a lot to it. You just have to see that video, because as long as this one is, that one is probably would be a much longer video. Same thing with your pull downs and your list box. Then I don't go over too much about buttons. Now I do talk about date fields. You can do date fields, but you can also use the text field. Does the same thing as this. It's just how you format it. Thank you for watching my video. I hope I made a little bit of sense. To me, it's easy to understand, but again, it's my brain might work different than everybody else's. Now, so you hit preview, and so this is your form. So now you can hit Control S, and it's going to ask you where you want to go. So one thing you don't want to do is start selecting any of these things, because that's going to change everything. You don't want to do that. So you're going to go back to where you have that form. So you would hit choose different. Then like this one, I just have it on my desktop, and I'm going to save and just replace the existing one. Okay, that is all there is to this video. Thank you for watching my video. Please give me a thumbs up. I'll see you in the next video.